Hey guys, welcome to another WTF video. On today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the DJI Osmo Mobile 5 and comparing it to the Osmo Mobile 2 and why I decided to go ahead and upgrade my gimbal. Alright, without further ado, let's get to it. Alright, so let's go ahead and start by comparing the size of the packaging that each gimbal came in. So as you can see, the Osmo Mobile 5's packaging with the box and everything and the paperwork is already pretty significantly smaller than the Osmo Mobile 2. The Osmo Mobile 2 came in this styrofoam packaging, which as far as travel cases go is actually pretty useful because it's very protective for the gimbal itself. However, it does take up quite a bit of room in your bag, where you can already tell by the Osmo Mobile 5 that even in its packaging, its retail packaging, you could throw it in your bag pretty easily. The biggest piece of that is because the Osmo Mobile 2 does not fold. Not really a pro or a con for my situation because I film most of my stuff at home here and I use it for taking time lapses and photographs and things like that. So I don't really have that much of a concern about the size of the packaging or how much it can fold down into, but you can see it is quite the large packaging that they had with the Osmo Mobile 2. So I'll set that aside for right now and let's go ahead and take a look inside the Osmo Mobile 5 and what you get in the packaging. So inside here we get our standard paperwork that we get with most electronic products, our warranty information, all that kind of good stuff. We can set that to the side. First thing we see is the Osmo Mobile 5 here folded up into its smallest position in the case, and we get our quick start guide right here to the left of it, and we can see that we have a QR code to go ahead and download either the iOS or Android app. One of the things that's always kind of bothered me about DJI products is it seems like they have a million apps. They have one for every generation of product that they release, and I've never quite understood that. I don't understand why they can't just kind of have one or two apps or program as much as possible into some single apps and retire some old ones. But for example, my Osmo Mobile 2 here uses an older version of the DJI Mimo app here that they use for this, and so now I have to have two apps on my phone to be able to use the gimbal for either on my phone for either gimbal. So a little bit annoying, not the end of the world, but certainly something I'd like to see DJI improve down the road. So let's go ahead and take out the gimbal and set it aside for now and see what else we get in here. So inside the package, we have our gimbal mount for the phone right here. So this is a nice magnetic portable clip. It is has a little tag on here that lets you align it properly on the gimbal so you know when you're setting your phone into it, you get it right. Another nice thing is they actually have a arrow direction, so when you put your phone in here, you put your phone's camera towards the arrow here so that you know it's lined up properly, because a big part of these gimbals and stabilization, and one of the reasons why I'll get into later I upgraded, was when you have a lot of weight in your phone, when you have especially a larger phone like mine, you want to have it as balanced as possible. So they do that to help you out. Inside you have another pad here. It looks like it may be a spare pad. On the back here I see it says it's a riser pad for smaller phones. I'm sure that's helpful. Not sure how many people use it, but it's there. We have a nice plastic tripod mount using a traditional 1/4-inch tripod screw. We have some rubber pads on the bottom. Nice that they included it, especially in a similar price to the old gimbal, which I do not believe included one. We get a wrist strap here. I probably will never use this because I use mine at home, but hey, it's there if you want it. If you travel a lot with it, it could be useful, especially reaching your hand out of windows, over buildings, etc. We have, let's take a look-see here. It looks like a pouch to store your gimbal in. Certainly much smaller, much more compact than the styrofoam case was that came with my Osmo Mobile 2, but again, if you're traveling, nice to keep it compact and portable in your bag. And then it looks like last we have in here a charger cable. It looks like they have moved all of their cables over to USB-C, which is nice. Most of my products these days are USB-C based, so it'll be good. It's one less cable I have to carry around. I can use my iPad charger or whatever else to charge it. So let's go ahead and put that aside for now, and let's take a look at these two gimbals compared to each other. So clearly different size. Actually, the handle lengths are pretty close. They're right about the same, but because you can fold it up, it really makes a pretty significant difference in the size when you go to transport these things around, which is nice. So the main reason why I upgraded from the 2 here to the 5 was my phone. So I have an iPhone 13 Pro Max, obviously the biggest phone you can get, the heaviest phone you can get. They didn't really sell phones like that back when this gimbal came out, and so they designed it around smaller phones and phones that had a little bit less weight. And so I've been trying to use this gimbal right here to accommodate that, and part of that is you have this little dial right here you can turn to loosen and tighten it. And so what you can do is once you loosen it, you can extend this bar to center the weight of the phone on the gimbal so that it can do its job to the best of its ability. So the problem with this is when you use a Max phone, one of the bigger iPhones or Android phones, the weight isn't quite centered over top of the gimbal motors right here and right here. And so what happens is the gimbals can't do its job, and it's trying to fight and overcome that weight balance, and it can't quite do it. And I've had a lot of shaky footage in my videos lately because of that. So the main reason why I opted to upgrade was because the 5 is built to accommodate larger phones. So that being said, if you have a iPhone 13 regular, an iPhone 13 Pro non-Max model, an Android phone that's smaller, this Osmo Mobile 2 gimbal will still work perfectly as well. And frankly, the software set on these two gimbals is pretty much the same. There's a couple fun little kind of gimmicky features with, spinning or zooming and things like that with the new one, but worth the full upgrade just for those features alone? I don't think so. I think that this is still a perfectly good gimbal, but if you have a phone that fits its phone holder mount size requirements. So the nice thing about that is you can get one of these. I did some research. You can actually get one of these nowadays because it's a few years old on eBay for 20, 30 bucks maybe. And for the cost and for its capabilities, you can do pretty much the same thing. I mean, I bought this off of Amazon here for maybe 10 bucks, this nice little weighted metal tripod stand. 10 bucks. So now you're $40 in, less than a third, maybe even less than a half of the price of the new one. And then you have a perfectly good working Osmo Mobile stabilizer gimbal. And so if you have a smaller phone, definitely highly recommended. So that being said, let's go ahead and set this to the side for now and take a look at the Osmo Mobile 5. So the Osmo Mobile 5, it is nice that they have this phone mount that can separate via magnets. It is nice to have that because, it makes it easier. You can put your phone in here before you put it on the gimbal. I oftentimes had trouble getting my phone into the old gimbal because it was attached to it, and you kind of had to, the gimbal would kind of wave around while you were trying to stretch it out. Not the end of the world, first world problems, but it's nice to have this so that it makes it a little bit easier to put on. Only downside to that being, if you put this in your bag, you take this off so it can fold up, there is the possibility you could lose this. So, I don't know if DJI sells replacements. I have to assume they do. I have to assume people lose these all the time. And if you do, who knows? It could be 15, 20 bucks by the time you spend that. If you lose one of these, you could buy one of these. So again, always a good option. But we go ahead and unfold this. I unfolded it a second ago, and when you unfold, the hinge they have in here is really nice and strong. You have to have some real force and effort behind it, which is nice. It's really very confidence inspiring when you're using it, because if you bump it or you move your arms really quickly, it won't fold back in you on accident while you're in the middle of filming something, causing you to have to do a retake. So it is nice and confidence inspiring. It is nice that they have this little notch here that allow you to line it up. Nice satisfying click into there. So yeah, like I said, it seems like a very nice product. They're able to really do a good job of, innovating small incremental changes over the years, making small updates while also keeping the price low. And they do things like this right here. I didn't really think that it was a necessary piece in here, but you may have seen on the front of the box that they managed to keep the same size handle as the old gimbal, but they were managed to get an extension rod. I think they call it a selfie stick in there, but you can extend it. You have a nice little angle hinge. Let me see if I can bend it the right way. A hinge right here that you can use to bend it, all while using the gimbal, which is a really nice thing. If you're with a bunch of friends, you can take a nice picture, a selfie with a group, all while keeping it nice and stable. And again, it's wild that they're able to fit this type of arm inside of a handle this size, all while keeping the battery life and the electronics and all that kind of fun stuff in there. So I'm really impressed. For the price, I think it's really good value. If you need a gimbal for a larger size phone. That being said, if you look at them and you fold it back up and you put them next to each other again, you can see they almost have the exact same button placement, the exact same little track pads here, the exact same mode buttons and record buttons, placement of the charging cables. The old one's using an old micro USB, which is, a little bit harder to find these days. Most people have moved on from that to USB-C, but still, you think about, for the price, if you have one of those smaller phones, you just spend $20 on a gimbal, $5 on a micro USB cable if you don't have it, and then another maybe $10 on a metal stand like this that would come with it on the new one, and you're in it for a third of the price. So I'm going to use the new one a little bit more, get some use into it, see how I like it. I'll come back and do a checkup on it, but so far I think it's a great product. It's a great product if you have a need for it, like you have a bigger phone. But yeah, DJI continues to make very high quality products that I've always been impressed with, that have really given me good results. So until the next one, I hope you guys enjoyed it.